I offered, you guys graciously accepted, so here it is. Final 5 of the top 10 denim brands that every man should know. Oni, Pure Blue Japan, Samurai, Studio d'Artisan, and TCB. Let's get into it. Okay, for all of you guys who just stumbled across this video and are a little bit confused about the title, there is another video, linked up in the corner somewhere, if I remember. There is another video that counts down the first 5 of the best denim brands that everybody should know. Those were Bravestar, Ironheart, Momentaro, Nudie, and Mr. Freedom. Not necessarily in that order. And all of these 10, they were voted for by you guys. This isn't just me and my opinion. Yeah, and a whole lot of you were confused why Naked and Famous didn't make the list. They were at number 13, I think, which really is not bad considering the competition. Anyway, now let's get into it. Number 1, number 5, Oni Denim. Oni means something like ogre or devil or demon, something along those lines. And it can be also used as an adjective to mean like tough or strong, like fucking tough and fucking strong. And yeah, when I first got into denim, Oni was like this brand that was sort of shrouded by a bit of mystery. There was rumors about this old Japanese couple they had a factory somewhere. It was just a single room in the back streets of Okayama, making just with one single shuttle loom some of the most interesting and slubbiest and most textured denim that was out there. These days that veil has been lifted a little bit, but it's still an incredibly interesting story, and it's really woven into the whole narrative of denim in the Japanese culture. Oni was founded by Masao Oishi. And before I go any further, like really, I apologize profusely for really butchering the pronunciation of these Japanese names. I don't really have a reference point. If there's any way to let me know how I should pronounce these names, then just drop me a line in the description below. But anyway, I will do my best, I promise. So anyway, Oishi-san, he really must have seen everything in terms of how denim was really permeated the Japanese culture and how it grew over the years. I mean, like back in the 50s, his father's company were the first ones that imported Levi's. And then in the 60s, he was part of the very first Japanese denim brand, Canton Jeans. And with that kind of background, you know he knew denim inside and out, literally, metaphorically and literally. I mean, that's decades spent in a very, very obsessive industry. And when Oni Denim was set up, many, many years later, he poured all of that knowledge and that obsession into Oni Denim. And when he did that, he gave us denim heads, the denim community, something that I don't think we'd really seen before. I mean, incredibly textured, incredibly slubby denim that's very, very hard to produce. And this denim was made into some very, very great fits. And along with that, there was the mystique, there was the story behind it, there was this sort of narrative that was helped along by the fact that these jeans were incredibly, incredibly hard to get. These days things are a little bit different. They are more available over here. They're not exactly common, but they are more available over in the West. And they're still going incredibly strong, I think stronger than ever before. The offering has really opened up to include a number of different weights of denim, a variety of cuts. There's been experimentation in indigo dyeing. And I think he might have even opened things up to producing for other brands. But that is just a rumor. Don't quote me on that. I think they're best known for their secret denim. And that is a denim that is made up with all the secret techniques that Oni have developed over the years. I mean, it's a heavy boy coming in at 20 ounces, but you can really see how this is a distillation of everything that is Oni. And incidentally, their Type 3 that's made of this denim is my next grail piece. Right, here's a nice little aside that comes from Japanese folklore, which I don't know where I read this or heard this, so it might be completely wrong. But apparently, Momentaro, the Peach Boy, he went to an island in the north of Japan and he fought Oni. Now, I don't know how that collab would work, but if they could put something together, can you imagine how amazing that would be? Oni, Momo, I don't know if you're listening, you're definitely not listening, but I'm just saying. Right, next. Pure Blue Japan, which is great actually because it sits nicely alongside Oni Denim. I mean, if Oni was the king of the slub, then Pure Blue Japan would be the viceroy or the prince regent or the little brother. I don't know, I'm kind of getting mixed up in metaphors just now. Put it this way, Pure Blue Japan makes some really incredible jeans out of some incredibly interesting denim. It's another Okayama brand, founded way back in 1997 by Ken Iwi. Oh god, this is about my 10th take in this, so I'm just going to read it directly off the script, okay? Ken Ichi Iwaya? Iwaya. I cannot apologize enough, this is really embarrassing. Iwaya-san started young. I think he came to the idea of doing Pure Blue Japan when he was about 20. I don't really remember what I was doing at 20, but I certainly wasn't deciding to make a denim brand. And he'll freely admit that he honed his skills making bad jeans. But, I mean, practice makes perfect, right? And when it came to making his first pair of jeans for Pure Blue Japan, he nailed it right out of the gate. Mixing my metaphors again, but whatever. Making those bad jeans, he developed really strong relationships with mills, with producers, with dye houses. And he also came to the conclusion that PBJ jeans, they had to stand apart from the crowd, which was predominantly made up by at that time, certainly very sort of vintage inspired brands. And you can really see this. It's a very strong thread that, more metaphors, it's a very strong thread that runs all the way through the Pure Blue Japan jeans. I mean, the fits are slimmer, the denim's very different, the stitching is much wider, everything that just went away from what was popular at the time. But the one thing that Pure Blue really celebrates above everything else is just the deep love for indigo. From the indigo leaf logo that's embroidered on all the jeans and the t-shirts and I think everything else, right to the blue line Selvedge ID that's in all of their denims. There's no variation there. No, there was one variation actually. Yeah, so I had a pair of these jeans. I sold them on to a friend, but back in Bread and Butter, that was a huge trade show that took place in Berlin years ago, they were selling a run of denim that is an experimental denim, and that had a red Selvedge ID, and I think that's the only time that they ever made something with a red Selvedge ID. If I'd known that at the time, I'd have kept those jeans, but that's just an aside. Anyway, so concentrate. Right, so blue Selvedge ID on most of their denims, and also on their goatskin leather patch, there is a picture, an image, and I think it's an old style engraving of a guy indigo dyeing the way it used to be. And that indigo love, it goes for all of their pieces, at least the majority of them. They've got indigo dyed everything. And this comes with a warning actually. If you go for one of their t-shirts, yes, they are amazing, but you're going to look like a smurf for the first couple of washes. And you really have to stay away from white anything. Their jeans though are much more forgiving. Right, what's next? Next up is me just jumping in here and saying, guys, if you have made it this far, then I guess it's a pretty good bet that you're very into your denim. And since that's pretty much what we're all about, denim and other high quality menswear, then consider subscribing to the channel. It truly helps us out and it's very appreciated. And if you're liking this video, a thumbs up would be great as well. As well as doing all this magic with the YouTube algorithm, it's just very appreciated from my side, so I know that you guys are liking what I'm doing. Right, but okay, really next. Samurai. Are all of these Japanese? Yeah, all of these are Japanese. Interesting. Now, Samurai came out of the revered Osaka 5. That is Studio D'Artisan, Evisu, Denim, Warehouse, and Full Count. I mean, that is a pretty hard act to follow, but the founder, Toru Nogami, he decided that he was going to offer something a little bit different. And Samurai were the ones that spearheaded this whole idea of heavy denim. I mean, yeah, these days we think of 19 ounces as maybe like a heavy middleweight. But back in 1998, that was something really different. I still think it's bonkers, but that's just me. Yeah, they did have to work their way up to this heavier denim. The first round of jeans, I think they only produced like 100 pairs. And that was in a much more civilized 15 ounces. The fit was based on the 501. But over time, with experimentation, trial and error, then they developed this heavier denim that they're known for nowadays. And along the way, they developed their brand identity to this like really razor sharp edge. More corny metaphors, I know, but whatever. The Selvedge ID, it's got this silver thread that runs through it. And I think they're constantly updating and developing the rivets and buttons. Each pair has got its own specific patch that represents some aspect, some tale, some part of the Japanese culture. And along with this, like the pocket flashers, the marketing material, this kind of thing, these are beautiful. They're artwork unto themselves. And here's another interesting little tidbit, just kind of an aside. Long before this idea that brands should take like ownership of every aspect of the production of whatever they're making, Samurai developed a pair of jeans where they had a hand in every single part of the production of that pair of jeans. That is from planting the cotton seed right the way through to fixing the last rivet. I mean, that's fucking cool. Okay, from a brand that was born out of the Osaka 5 to one of the Osaka 5. Studio d'Artisan. Okay, you know all of these Japanese denim brands that we love and we obsess over? It all started with d'Artisan back in 1979, which is actually quite crazy if you think about it. I mean, in 1979, it really wasn't that long since denim had switched from being a workwear staple into being a fashion staple. That whole fast fashion and that whole erosion of quality, it was developing, but it hadn't really happened properly. And even then, people were still looking to the old days and thinking, it was done better back then. I mean, yeah, it does make sense that this happened in Japan, where there was such a reverence for everything Americana. But I mean, yeah, it was pretty out there, pretty brave. I mean, consider what was selling at the time. I mean, very, not skinny, but slim jeans that were stonewashed, that were acid washed. And the founder of d'Artisan, Degaki-san, he went completely against this by making a pair of raw selvage denim jeans. These jeans were loosely based off like traditional silhouettes, but there was a decent amount of original ideas mixed in there as well. These were really incredible jeans, I'm sure, especially seeing it through the lens of what we're used to today, but they carried a pretty hefty price tag. And if you consider at the time that all the prices were really being driven down as much as possible, then creating these was a pretty brave thing to do. I mean, all this considered, it's pretty incredible that this caught on. And I think that just shows the dedication, the interest, the devotion that the Japanese have to anything that they really get interested in or find a passion with. And we can be very grateful that it did catch on, because I think the world of denim would be far less interesting, far less diverse without these early pioneers. Right, last but certainly not least, and I have to say I'm really happy to see this brand on the list. TCB, Two Cats brand, or Taking Care of Business. And it's kind of fitting. We just had d'Artisan, which started this whole thing off, and I feel that TCB is the next generation of these guys. Well, TCB is definitely a relative newcomer. Their passion, which borders on obsession to get every little detail just historically right. This passion really exemplifies this new breed of Japanese denim producers. TCB was founded back in 2008 by Hajime Hanoyu. At that time, it was set up as a sewing factory. Now, I've heard in Japan it's quite normal to keep production small scale. It's a way to ensure the quality, and it's a way to develop the expertise for whatever it might be that you're doing. And the brand that we know as TCB, it was born out of Hajime's just fascination for Levi's. Apparently, as soon as he put his hands on the first pair of Levi's that he ever saw, first vintage pair, he just couldn't believe the quality, the construction. It was just like, it was snap, and he was fascinated with these. And you can really see and feel this in every single TCB piece, just this obsession and this passion for denim and for all the details, all the historical details. And it's a repro brand, but it's a repro brand with a good amount of Hajime's personality mixed in with this. And I would say yeah, a good amount of humor as well, which I very much appreciate. I mean, just look at the patch, for instance. Hajime just loves cats. I think more than maybe he loves jeans. The patch shows two cats pulling a pair of jeans apart. Now, does that seem like a little bit familiar? Even the name, TCB, it could stand for taking care of business, or it could stand for Two Cats brand. You guys can choose. I'm more on the Two Cats brand, I like that. But TCB aren't just all about the Levi's repro. They have got a good, solid mix of models that are inspired by Lee, by Carhartt. They've even got some military pieces in there. They've got some amazing workwear staples as well. And really, TCB have got a very special place in my heart because, I mean, the closest thing that I've had to a project pair in years are my pair of TCB 50 Slim. That is, it's like based on their 50s model, like all of the details are there. It's just in a slimmer silhouette. And really, I love these jeans. They are fantastic. Okay, there we go. That is the final 5 of the top denim brands that every man should know. And every woman. Because, I mean, a lot of these brands, I think most of them, they've got a pretty good offering for girls as well. I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense that all these guys are Japanese, right? But what I'm curious about, I mean, like Naked and Famous, is there another brand out there that you were expecting to see on this list? Just let me know in the comments down below. I'm really curious about that. Okay guys, so I know there was a bit of a break. Like last week was just nuts busy, and I probably could have put out a video, but it wouldn't have been that great. And honestly, it would have been rushed and just not that nice. And honestly, I'd rather not put out a video than put out like a half-arsed video. So yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be talking to you again. I'm glad to be being able to do this video. I've been waiting to do it for a while. And I'm also glad to say, I hope all of you are happy and healthy out there. I hope you're taking care of yourselves. I hope you're taking care of each other. And I'm going to see you in the next video. And I also keep forgetting to say that down below there's going to be links to places that you can pick up all of these brands. So check that out. If you're looking for something else, there's also a link to the CRD sales page. That's also, it's worth having a look around. There is the sign up to our newsletter. If you are subscribed to the channel for a longer time, then you're going to know what that's all about, or not all about. Inside joke. And okay, I will leave it there.